All right, buddy. So, what's your name and where you from?
My name's Tyler. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. A lot of people have been trying to get me to have some cats on from Arizona. You said that there was a lot of stuff going on in that prison when you were there. What'd you go to prison
Yeah,
for, first off?
I went for narcotic sales. I pled it out to solicitation, so I went from 5 presumptive to 2.5.
Okay.
Um, yeah, narcotic sales, marijuana sales, and misconduct involving weapons.
Okay. And what prisons did you go to?
I started out on a 2 yard on a minimum camp called Fort Grant, which is out in it's the complex is called Safford. It's out in Safford in the mountains, and I was only there for probably 2 3 months. That yard was wild. I mean, it was crazy, flooded with all sorts of drugs, and it was nuts there. But I got caught on a cell phone ticket, so they bumped me up. I went from 13 points to 38 points overnight.
Just
And went
from
to the
using
three
a cell
yard.
phone, or did you get caught with a cell phone?
They didn't even catch me with it. They found the phone and it had a number, my 20s list, it was my grandma's number. And whoever had the phone, they didn't clear it out. And yeah, so they seen my numbers and boom, they told me using it's the same as possessing it. So I got the same ticket.
That's crazy,
Um,
man.
it was terrible. Luckily, they didn't catch me with it though, because then I would have got a street charge. They're giving people five to anywhere from 5 to 10 for it
For a phone.
for prison contraband. Yeah, they
That's
don't play.
crazy, man.
Yeah, they said it's worse than a weapon. They hit you harder for a phone than they do for having a shank on
Yeah, I would imagine so if they're giving away 5 to 10 for it.
you. Yeah, they say it's a skate that you could facilitate a skate, you could facilitate whatever, which is true, I guess. But
Yeah. Uh,
yeah, they got me up, and I went to ASPC Douglas, and it was on Mojave, which was still segregated, racially and everything. And
was the
I
two
was
yard
there.
segregated?
No, the 2 yard, you pretty much have little cubicles, so you don't really have a bunkie. So it wasn't really an issue. I mean, it was segregated as
Cubicles? What
far
do
as
you
like
mean?
the
It was
chow
like a
hall.
dorm setting?
Yeah, well, actually, there was dorms and there was little houses. It used to be a military base, Fort Grant,
Okay.
and so there was little houses, and like you walk into where the living room would be, and there'd be like 5 cubicles, and then you go down the hallway where the bedrooms were, and there'd be in each bedroom there'd be 2 cubicles. And yeah, so you pretty much didn't have to worry about a bunkie necessarily, but it was segregated like in the chow hall, like you had to sit at certain tables. But aside from that, no, there wasn't really much racial
That's
politics in the
wild,
prison.
man. That's wild how
It's
you
weird.
y'all had like little cubicles and stuff, and
Yeah,
that it's on a
it
old.
was like a little neighborhood. You could sneak out in the middle of the night and go like creeping behind the houses and go to somebody else's house and hang out with them for a little bit and
Oh,
just
so
try
it's
to duck.
outside. It's literally outside, and you can walk around outside at all times.
They don't even lock the doors. Yeah, it was crazy,
That's
but
nuts, man.
it was crazy. I didn't last long though.
Hey,
So
look.
I'd be creeping at 2 in the morning behind the houses, and the CEO's like, "Hey, you!" and you just take off and run from them. It's just a little neighborhood.
That sounds. I can see you doing that too,
Hopping
man.
walls and shit.
Huh?
Hopping walls, just trying to duck them.
That's crazy, man.
But yeah, that didn't last long. So then I went to the 3 yard, and because that bumped me up to 38, so I was like just shy of 4 yard points off that one ticket. And I was on Mojave for the most of my bid, which was segregated. It was pretty popping there.
Yeah.
And then I did like the last like 4 or 5 months on that integrated yard that I was telling you about.
Yeah. Tell
But
me
by
about this,
2020,
man. So they're trying to integrate the yards.
yeah, they have to by 2020. They have to integrate the whole system. I guess that some dude um, sued the Arizona Department of Corrections, for racially segregating like that, and he won. And so they have till 2020 to integrate all the yards, or else they're like not in federal compliance, and they're going to send down, the feds are going to take over. So they have to, and they're already pretty much almost done. When I went home in August of 18, No, 17 actually. There was only 2 yards that were integrated, and now like damn near all of them are.
That's crazy.
So
So when you got moved to this level 3 yard, was it
uh,
cells?
the first one that was segregated still, it was dorms. It was there's two sides, like there's a north yard and a south yard, and then each side has 4 buildings, and then each building has 4 runs, and it's just straight runs where you've got two dudes per little cube in the dorm.
So when y'all were segregated, how were y'all segregated? Who were y'all housed with?
Your house was your own race, basically. Like, so, I mean, here, it's the same as Cali, pretty much. There's like 5 main races. There's the Woods, and then there's the Chicanos, the Paisas, the Kim folks, and the Chiefs. And that's pretty much it. And then the skinheads are separate from the Woods, but like they bunk with us. Like the white boys all bunk together. Um, and that really only is a factor. Like as far like if you're in, like, there's only a few places where they actually have like a too high bunk or anything like that. It's mainly just the chow hall segregated. And like, well, I mean, for example, like on the yard, like you can't smoke with other races, or you can't eat with other races. Yeah, you can't cook with other races, shit like that. What it is like mostly they're pretty much, they started out with all the new guys that are coming in. They're having them sign at reception at Alhambra. They're pretty much like telling them right there, hey, you need to sign, and if you
Sign
don't
what?
sign, you sign a paper saying that you're willing to house with other races.
Oh, so they're actually kind of forcing it upon you, or what?
Well, I mean, you have the option, but if you don't, then they RTH you. That you get a refuse to house ticket, which is a big ass ticket, and they pretty much slam you down. They take all your property away. You can't have no TV, no CD player, no nothing, and it's pretty much like being in the hole. They pretty much just put you in the hole until you're willing to sign. But the thing is like from up top, they told us anybody who signs is no good, and if you do, then it's a smash on sight. Like say you go home, like I went home from an integrated yard. If I would have went back and wound up on a regular yard and they found out that I was on that yard, it would have been all bad. I know people that's happened to. They try to tell you that if you come back, oh, we'll send you to another integrated yard, but that's not true.
Yeah.
They don't.
All right. So pretty much the dudes would get mad. So it's like win or lose. So is there a lot of people not signing this paper?
Well, get this: the integrated yard that I went home from, there was like, when I was there was like, I think it was 32 or 37 guys or something that didn't sign, like of all different races, and so they shipped them over to Cimarron, which is one of the more poppin' yards. And when those guys on Cimarron found out, oh, they just came from Manzanita, that's an integrated yard. These guys are no good. They smashed all those dudes who didn't sign, thinking, oh, they just came from Manzanita, not realizing that it hadn't integrated yet.
How are they going to get
now,
mad at someone for living or being forcibly housed in a compound that's getting integrated? That makes no sense.
No. I'm talking about the inmates. Like,
Yeah, why would they do that? You know?
What?
Why would they just assume that, okay, they just came from that prison, so they're no good?
They
That's
came
stupid.
from Manzanita, and those guys didn't know. All they knew is that, oh, Manzanita was integrating. They didn't know. Like, they thought it had already been happened.
Yeah.
So they just assumed that, and they smashed these dudes, and now everyone else is like, oh, well, hell, I'm going to sign that.
Yeah.
Plus, the integrated yards, they got the Xbox, they got barbecues every 90 days, like all this.
Yeah, you can't deny that, can you?
Yeah, I'm trying to play some 2K.
Yeah, I know that's right. So a lot of people were signing this paperwork.
Yeah, and pretty much everybody is really. I mean, and that's the thing is like the guys from AB that sent that down saying, oh, anybody who signs is no good. They pretty much screwed themselves, because now all these guys are like, oh, well, I don't want to get slammed down, and we're just not going to pay yard taxes anymore. We're not going to send money up to them no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now those guys that are slammed down in SMU and everything, they're not getting yard taxes on any of these integrated yards, so they're pretty much done.
Yeah.
It, but I mean, it was cool when I got to Manzanita. I was there when it flipped, and like it was kind of weird at first, like in the chow hall, like everyone's like, I don't want to be the first one to sit at another table, so they're kind of waiting for everyone else to do it, because for all these years, if you sit at another table, you're getting smashed out. So everyone's just kind of waiting. And finally, a bunch of dudes orchestrated it, and they sat at some other tables and stuff, and it was cool after that.
So when it became like integrated, was the police saying, okay, you have to sit with other races, you have to do this? What? How?
They left that to us. They for like the first week or two, we still sat at our own tables and everything, until finally these guys like put together this whole thing, like, oh, today we're gonna do it, and and so they did. They did, and the cops were all watching. There was a lot of cops in the chow hall that day. They were waiting to see if anything popped off, and nothing did. Everything was cool, And that yard was so chill. I never saw anybody get beat up. I didn't even see any one-on-one fights there, really.
And this was at the integrated yard.
Yeah, it was so laid back. It was cool. I mean, like it's working out.
Well, that just goes to show you, man, because I said in the beginning of this that, how everything's racially segregated over there in the West Coast. I believe within 10 to 20 years, that's going to be a thing of the past. That's what I've always said, and I believe it now even more with you telling me what's going on in Arizona. And they're trying to do this with every prison out there. They have to by 2020.
Yep, or else the feds are coming in and cracking down.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
And the only thing that kind of freaks me out about it is, like, I hear these stories about on the East Coast a lot of white dudes getting victimized or whatever, this and that. I feel like the racial politics out here kind of stop that from happening.
It does, but at the same time,
none of that stuff happens here ever.
Yeah,
not ever.
Yeah. Well, see, over here in the East Coast, it's not necessarily all just every white dude. It's the really weak ones that have money,
right.
And they are the ones that get preyed upon. Sometimes I've seen, non-weak individuals get preyed upon too, but it's very rare. It's usually, the type of individual that is in prison that's like, okay, he's sweet as hell, easy money, let's go get him.
You can be the randomest dude in the world here and come back with $200 in store, and nobody's gonna take nothing from you.
Yeah, I mean, you could have hands, and you come back to some places with $200-$300 in food. Someone's gonna try you,
Right.
I'd
say the benefits of integrating outweigh the negatives.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so.
Man, it was back on the first 3 yard I was on. People were getting smashed left and right. There was dudes getting medevaced all the time, like, bad calls getting made, like just all sorts of stuff. And then I get to the other yard, and nobody was getting beat up ever. The only thing, that kind of sucked there was that since the cops knew everyone there was kind of like in a privileged situation, because like I was getting my time back for being there. So the cops treated you a lot worse. They talk reckless to you and stuff, just knowing that you're not going to do nothing.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other yard I was on, I seen a cop tell a dude, "I bet you if I come out this bubble, you won't do nothing." And the dude said, "Come out then." And the dude just put the beats on him. It was a sergeant. It was his first day on the 3 yard, and he just got whopped. And and they don't really talk to you like that over there, but when they know that they can get away with it, they talk close to you. But aside from that, it was chill.
Yeah. So did you ever see any of these cell doors that locks didn't work that everyone's talking about in Arizona?
Nah, that complex.
It's like a level 4 or 5.
No, well, what it is that's Lewis Complex, where it's mostly PC yards there. Like the yard where that guard got stabbed was a PC yard. My buddy's on that yard. There's literally half of 2 different yards that are GP there. So That complex is pretty much mainly PC. I've never even been to that complex, but I've heard about it. I've heard about it.
Have you ever experienced the old tent city out there?
Yeah, I've been to the tent. They shut the tents down though. Sheriff Joe got he got took out of office, but nothing's really changed aside from the tents getting shut down. Like they still feed you what they call slop. You know, you only get 2 meals a day. In the morning, it's bread and peanut butter. At night, you get some slop, and like literally nothing else has changed. And that new sheriff's been in office for a couple years.
Yeah. So y'all get 2 trays a day, peanut butter and bread in the morning, and that's it? That's all you get on the trays, peanut butter and bread? Huh?
You get an orange.
Peanut butter, bread, and an orange.
Yeah.
That ain't shit, man.
That's at 5 a.m. And now at 5 p.m.
Hold on. Before you go on to 5 p.m., you know what they used to serve breakfast in Virginia? And I mean almost every prison I've been in. You know what they serve? Grits, sausages, biscuits, grapefruit. And if you don't want that, if you're like a vegetarian, they give you grits, peanut butter, bread, grapefruit, and you got nozzles with milk and fruit juice to come out of them. Don't matter what level yard you're on, man, unless, you know, it was on like a 5 or 6 that I haven't seen, you know, or 5 or maximum security.
We're talking county jail, though. This is county.
Yeah. Well, our county jail was the same, too. We would have, the breakfasts would be like SOS or oatmeal with butter, with a little packet of sugar sometimes, eggs, scrambled eggs, you know, the liquid eggs.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, hard-boiled eggs. Every place I've been to, man, pretty much fed us good. You know what I mean? So that's crazy.
I was in St. Louis too. When I was in St. Louis County, that you get 3 hots. I mean, I've seen dudes that are so hungry out here in county that they'll go and they'll fight for steak cookies. You'll be like, "Hey, steak cookies to whoever wins," you know, and they'll grab the steak cookies.
Yeah, actually, I've seen a couple fights over some white sugar steak cookies. I have.
Yeah,
actually.
some ginger snaps.
Them things are delicious. I know the ones from where I done my time were delicious, man. I ain't gonna lie.
But that's how it was in St. Louis too. We ate good there. You get juice. Here, you're drinking straight water unless you get store.
Yeah.
You can order a little Kool-Aid packet.
Yeah,
but
that's
you don't
wild.
get. Oh, you get a milk in the morning. I lied. You get a milk in the morning.
Yeah.
With the peanut butter and the orange and all that, you get a milk. But
that
that's
still ain't shit. That's like 120 calories, man. If that.
They say that this soy peanut butter is supposedly loaded with protein or whatever, but I don't know. And then the slop at night, what it is it's soy meat, lentil beans. Sometimes there's like a little bit of potatoes in there, and then powdered milk, and it's all mixed up. And then you'll get like some broccoli or some corn or something, and that's it. That's what you get.
So they don't give you no like different trays or anything?
Slop every night, every single night. I'm telling you, bro, you'll be so.
You don't get no turkey patty, no hot dogs.
No, oh man, you know what they would do for a turkey patty?
Look, boy. Man. Okay, now this is what we eat in Virginia in almost every prison I've seen. Okay. You got a variety, man. You got Salisbury, you got hot dogs, you got burgers, you got sweet potato, you got corn, you got almost every vegetable you think of, man. I mean, that grows on a farm, you know, near you. Man, they got all kinds of food.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you what, Virginia feeds you good. I ain't gonna lie, they feed you all right, man.
That's how it is in the yard here, but that's their whole theory, I think, is they treat you so terrible in county that you're willing to sign whatever plea they throw at you so you can get a cigarette and a hot tray.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how, yeah, I mean,
here.
See, they think that that's how it works, that it will teach people to do what they want them to do, probably. But at the same time, when a man's hungry, that's when you're going to see the most trouble out of the individual.
It breaks you. It mentally breaks you.
Yeah, man.
You're so hungry all the time.
And shit will kick off a lot easier if a man's hungry, you know?
Yeah. You start losing your mind, bro.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and I heard we're one of two states that still have tobacco, like, legally. You know, like you could buy tobacco on store. So they're willing to sign for a cigarette, really, or a chew.
Yeah, that's a huge factor too. The prisons over here in Virginia. When I got out in 2014, I think and they just stopped smoking in every prison in Virginia around between 2008 and 2014. They started around 2008, so yeah, the tobacco business is huge in the prison system in Virginia right now when it comes to, a freaking Pinner cigarette is like $5.
Woo.
Yeah, they're making a
You
killing.
get a pouch here for $3.20. And
Yeah.
the pouch will roll you about 50.
Yeah, I used to buy when it was legal. They used to sell these big old containers about this tall, about that round, and it'd be filled with tobacco. I forget what it's called. Moon Midnight Special. That's what it was called.
Oh yeah, we got midnight special pouches though. Those little pouches.
Yeah, they sold pouches. They sold big jars or pouches. So yeah, y'all sell the rolling machines,
Yeah, they got the little top rolling machines.
the little
and then,
handheld things. Yeah, them things are cool,
you
man.
can buy like regular packs too if you want to get like Camels or American Spirits,
Yeah.
but they're $10.
Yeah, that's what we used for gambling was packs of cigarettes. But yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Y'all still got smoking, but y'all are starting to get integrated. I mean, when the pressure's on by the federal government, shit's gonna
Yeah.
get done, and it's probably gonna get done the right way.
They're moving quick.
All
They're
it takes
moving-
is for that one person to complain the right way, take it all the way up to the big head honchos.
And the rumor is the guy. So it was a black dude that had sued him, and supposedly this is the rumor. I don't know if it's true, but he had like some kind of relationship with some dude from another race, and he wanted to bunk with him, and they wouldn't let him because they were different races. So he sued him, talking about, oh well, they're they're racially,
Yeah,
they're segregating them.
yeah.
And he won.
I believe it. It's probably was an easy route to do too.
Sounds legit to me.
Yeah. So what's the craziest thing that you've seen in prison, man? Let's just talk about that really quick. Craziest thing.
Craziest thing, man. I saw a guy show up on the yard, on that first 3 yard I was on. He showed up, and his brother was somebody. His brother was AB. And so basically, the dude that was running our yard, there's like rumors that he was no good, that he had checked in from another yard or all this stuff. And supposedly, either A, this dude that showed up was going to take over the yard from him, or B, was going to like expose him. And so within like 30 minutes, the dude running the yard runs around and tells some of the hitters, like, oh, this guy has a KOS on him, and sends them in there. And I thought the guy was dead. I found out later he didn't die. It ended up being a total BS call. Like, none of that was
So
true.
he took him out before he could get exposed.
Yeah, exactly. Before he could either get the yard yanked from him or before he could get exposed. So he pretty much like tried to get this dude killed just to keep his cover. And then this happened right before lockdown, so probably like, I don't know, 8 o'clock maybe. And I'm looking out my window at 11, and the ambulance is still in the Sally Port. So this dude was still on the compound, like they hadn't even took him out yet, And he ended up living though. He ended up living somehow. I don't know how, but
Yeah.
that was probably the craziest one. There's been multiple guys that got killed while I was there, but that's the one that I was seen the closest, like that happened right in front of me. There's another one where a kid was 19. He was 2 weeks from the gate, and he had a spice bill that he had been paying on, but he was late. He was a little behind, and he only owed probably like $20-$30. And so for whatever reason, the dude, this is on the north yard, I was on the south yard, the dude running that side decided that they wanted to like tune him up anyways. Well, he gets picked up and scooped and dropped on his head and has an aneurysm and died.
2 weeks before he goes home?
2 weeks. And he was paying the bill.
They were probably just jealous he was going home, man, and they just wanted to.
And they didn't. I don't think they meant to kill him, but they dropped him on his head, and he had an aneurysm.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, man, that dump game shit is more dangerous than people think.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Back of his head. It
that's
took him like a week to die. But yeah, that was terrible, man. He's a little 19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He was only doing like a year.
All right, now let me ask you this: You look like you might have a good story for this subject. What was the funniest thing you've seen in prison?
I've seen a lot of funny stuff. Probably the funniest ones were people falling out in like gnarly situations. I seen a dude sitting at the table and he was smoking a stick, and next thing you know, like he just all of a sudden he's talking and then stops and falls backwards, hits his head so hard that the next day he comes out, he had a black eye, but he had hit the back of his head. Another dude, he was walking through the field, he had his hands in his pockets, and he falls out too. He doesn't even try to catch himself or nothing, just goes face first, and like a plume of dust comes up, and then this dude's just laying there face first in the dirt. I see another dude trying to swim in a puddle. He said, "Come swimming with me, guys." Dude, can't handle it. That's probably some of the funniest ones, man.
He was swimming in a puddle, man.
Another dude, we're in the bathroom and we're smoking, and this dude, it's this dude, I named him Gooch. He's a chubby little dude, and he's all, I gotta go. He stands up and he walks straight into the shower with his clothes on, and I hear the water running, but I'm not processing this at the time.
And he's high?
So I'm like, yeah.
On weed or what?
Smoking spice.
Spice.
Too. And so I'm like, I gotta go too. So I go back to my bunk, and my cellie's asleep like in my bed. I'm like, no. So like I sit down and I'm chilling for like a minute, and I tell him, hey, I think Gooch just got in the shower with his clothes on. And like I finally processed what had happened. And he's like, no, he didn't. So he goes in there and looks, and he's like, yeah, he did. And so the dude had poked his head out. He's got puke all in his beard. He's fully clothed. He's all, guys, I forgot my towel. Will somebody get it? We're like, bro, you didn't forget your towel. You got it there with all your clothes on.
So that spice shit's pretty, it's in there, huh?
Bro. It's scary, man. They'll put a sprinkle in there and this happens.
That's crazy, man. That stuff is very dangerous, dude.
Yeah, dangerous, man. Yeah. It's bad.
I remember I've tried it once or twice, man. That was a horrible experience, but...
No, it's terrifying every time, bro.
Every time.
Like, there's been so many times where I'm like, I had to talk myself through it, like, just make it back to your bunk. You got this. You can do it. You know, I'm trying to motivate myself.
That's funny, man. You look like someone I'd kick it with in prison, too, man. We'd have some good times in there.
Yeah, I played a lot of poker, too. I was at the tables all day.
Oh, yeah. That's nice, man. That's nice. When it got integrated, were multiple races gambling?
Yeah, they were. It was kind of weird because, like, when I was there, like, it had just flipped, so each week a different race still ran the table, even though, like, it was integrated. It was kind of like, there wasn't really, like, they hadn't worked out a way to figure out who was going to run it, which, you know, at what time. So they still kind of kept it like that. And, like, there was still a head for each race, but, like, only in case of, like, something super weird happening or where they needed that. Like, I mean, just because the cops said it was integrated, like, doesn't necessarily mean that, like, you know, like, the entire politics went away at first. Like, when I left, it was still, you know, that still existed, but it just wasn't, like, used much.
Yeah.
Aside from things like that, like who was running the table and whatnot.
That's what's up, man. Well, look, I appreciate you coming on to the show and telling us a little bit about Arizona. I enjoyed this one, man, you know?
Me too, man. That's cool.
And yeah, and you know, I ask people some things, you know, like what's the funniest thing that you've seen, and what's the craziest thing you've seen. You know, most people, they remember them funniest moments and those worst moments more than anything, you know. And it came right off your tongue. It was you roll with it, and I believe you, man. I believe everything you're saying, and I appreciate you once again coming on the show. Do you got any kind of shout outs you want to say before we leave?
Nah, not really, man. I appreciate you having me on here. That's cool. I never expected to be on the.
Hey, you on, man? You're on, man. Well, you be safe out there, man, and stay free. All right.
All right, brother.
All right, take it easy, man.
Thank you, man.